Home-based learning is something new to most of the parents. What about those parents who actually may not be an IT savvy? How they can actually help their children with this HBL?
I think at secondary school we also want to slowly let go and let the students or let the child themselves figure out how to go about doing certain things. And sometimes actually you will be quite surprised that they can be very tech savvy. And even if there are any concerns, as in the parents would not be expected to come in as an IT expert or to even as a teacher to help the child do any lesson or complete lesson. Most important is to just show care and concern and just interest, like to ask them, what are you doing, how was it, and anything to do with the lesson itself or anything to do with the IT support. I think we can always go back to the school, to the teachers to surface any concerns and feedback.
A few of us are concerned because our children have to log in by 7:30 AM, and then somehow the home-based learning will end until 4:30. So is it going to be a screen all the way during the whole day, during the time, or is it just a combination of what other means than like worksheets or maybe just any other activities?
The guideline is around 5 hours. We don't expect them to be doing the work right from 7:30 all the way to 5:30. We want to give a little bit of a space for them to take a break, have a snack. Sometimes they can chit-chat with their friends or their family members, whoever is at home. The guideline is also online work should not take more than 2 hours. So the teachers are very mindful of this, and whatever we said, we try to have a balance.
How can we ensure that they really stay home, do their home-based learning, and they don't really go out when parents go to work, those who cannot work from home? So how can they monitor?
We do provide a recommended schedule for the students to follow. Teachers, whether they are in school or they are working from home, we are constantly monitoring the students as well through SLS or through a submission of work on a particular platform that the school might be using. I think it's also an issue of a trust, and maybe also to instill responsibility. Also a very good chance for parent and child, to have a conversation, to talk about what happens, and then how can I, as a parent, trust you to complete your work. I think we also want to make learning joyful. We go from the angle of how much have you learned today? Maybe tell me something interesting that you have learned today. And if your child is able to do that, or any child is able to do that, I think they would have done good home-based learning. And if they would want to take a break, play a game at home and all, I think we can allow for that. Yeah.
My child is in Sec 4 this year, and he's taking the national examination. I'm quite worried about how he's going to take his exam. What impact will it do to his future?
A lot of students have also been showing concerns like, what if school is closing for more number of days, then how do we keep up with our learning? So we reassure them that learning is still going on, even if it's HBL. We are whatever we assign, whatever we prepare for them, we make sure that there is no disruption to their learning, and we are also constantly on the lookout at how they are following up with their work, whether they are showing any signs of stress. As much as the teachers can support the Sec 4 students in closing their learning gaps or providing feedback and extra consultation, I think the most important is they must take responsibility of their own learning. I think what helps the most is when they encounter problems or they have questions, they should take their own notes. Then the next day they can always follow up by asking the teachers, because this same attitude towards being proactive about taking charge of their own learning is equally important every day, right? Even in the face-to-face lessons. How does your son ask for help from his teachers?
Usually he has group study. They will actually go to the teachers to ask for help during after school hours.
So with this current situation where they're not encouraged to go out and meet, then how does your son cope with this?
So what he does is that what I saw him did was he had this discussion through WhatsApp, they had this video call. They share answers, they share a lot of work together, they discuss together, and then they will, stop video call for the moment, then they will continue with their own work, and after that they will be on the WhatsApp again.
I think that's good enough. I think instead of trying to solve everything by himself, I think getting the support from a few friends, and like you said, they can always contact the teacher in case they need further clarifications. Now with Zoom or Google Meet, there's also opportunities for teachers to still have face-to-face interaction with the students in case we need to. It's always easier when we collect, for example, their essays, and then we can mark and give them feedback. But with technology, there are certain things that still can be done, even when we have home-based learning. Yeah. So I think there is still ways in which the teachers can support the students, especially the graduating students, in helping them prepare for the national exams.
I saw some other schools, students are live streaming, but some are not. How does the teacher do on this during this home-based learning, and how do they work actually?
Home-based learning can take place in many forms. How does the home-based learning lesson and task fit into the whole scheme of work? Which part of the learning phase is the child in? We also consider the learning style of the students, okay, whether this particular style would match their learning and help them to optimize their learning. So we do have a variety of tasks. Sometimes it's also good to ask them to explore, for example, discussion questions. It need not be online. It could be even looking at a particular page of their worksheet or their textbook, and then they can then post questions that they want to ask about that particular page on SLS, and then they have a discussion forum or something. And then sometimes it just boils down to a simple pen and paper, because it's a review of a concept that has already been taught.
As a parent yourself, how do you actually see yourself when your child is on home-based learning?
I have a child in P6. I was not at home to supervise her, but what I did was I just sent her a text and asked her, oh, have you started? And she'll tell me, oh yes, I have, but this is my issue. Then I'd say, okay, then after two hours later, then I'll send her another text. So how is it so far? Yeah, so I think it's that constant check. And then at the end of the day, I just asked her what was the most interesting part and have a conversation with her. She's in P6, so she was saying that actually she worked so much harder than any other day. Yeah, but she does understand why the teacher does certain things, and there was a combination. She wasn't online all the time. So when I got home about in the evening, she was finishing her last task, which was writing a compo. So it was nothing online. So I think the teachers have put in place a certain roster and schedule that involves a variety of tasks. I think most importantly, we need to pay attention to our child, whether it's in their best interest, their well-being, and we will all stay safe.